How y'all doing? What's happening? This is Sports Counterpoints podcast. I'm GB. That's Brian. That's Coop. What's happening, guys?
Hey, we back.
What's going on?
Back at it. So let me get myself right real quick. Hold on just a second here. Yep, there you go. So we're talking today. It is October the 4th, 2023. We're talking about college football, some NBA trades. Well, one particular trade is Jrue Holiday moves. We'll talk about baseball playoffs, which just kicked off, and the NFL, of course, because that's what we're all here for. So starting with college football, man. I know. Let's just start with it all. USC, Colorado. What do you guys think?
Well, you're a USC fan. You pulled out a victory, Brian. You start with the USC.
Close too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't get to watch the game itself. I was at a funeral service, but I was following when possible. And look, I, like so many other people, as I was following it, were excited to see USC jump down their throat and get a big lead early. And like so many other fans, I was wondering how and why they were able to give up so many points late. I read and saw the highlights and talked a little bit about how Jrue actually looked like a decent quarterback. I don't know if he was playing against the backups, because at that point in time, there was a pretty significant lead. And from everything that I read, no matter, even when Colorado was coming back, USC did not look worried that they were going to have to give that up. But I can tell you one thing, that stat line from Caleb Williams sure looked pretty awesome. And he continues to impress. He reclaimed the Vegas favorite status for the Heisman, which it seems almost perfunctory, if he continues to play the way he is, that he's going to get that a second time. It's pretty ridiculous, the stat line he puts up, and things that he doesn't. But anyways, I'm obviously very glad to see Colorado take another L. I do expect that they're able to bounce back this week against Arizona State. People are going to say that's because Travis Hunter's back. It's not because Travis Hunter's back. It's because Arizona State is Arizona State. And I expect, USC to kind of keep it moving. And I don't think Arizona's got anything for them, but these games are always interesting. Jason, what about you?
They put up a lot of yards on Colorado. Did put up a lot of yards on them boys, though.
They did. Most of it all in the second half. I didn't get to see it, so I don't know who was playing, if it was backups or not. But
I think it was record yardage given up.
You don't score, 40 points?
48-41.
Yeah,
41.
You don't score 41 points without putting up some yards.
Yeah, I only watch USC for one reason and one reason only, and that's to watch Caleb Williams. That's the reason why I watch, and I know I'm going to get about 40 points and probably 4 or 5 touchdowns from him. But I know last week when you talked about USC Arizona State, I didn't want to say anything about that game, and the reason why is because I've been trying to think for past 2 weeks who this USC team reminds me of. And after watching this game, I watched it when they went to halftime, and at halftime, it clicked in my mind who this team reminds me of. It reminds me of Lincoln Riley's Oklahoma's team. It's like he took the same Oklahoma team and brought it to Los Angeles. He has a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, a lot of talent on offense, but soft as hell on the lines. And they're good enough to beat average and below average teams, but they don't beat good teams. And that's justified by Lincoln Riley's record against the better teams or in the college football playoff. Oregon, the first thing I noticed in the first half is Oregon pushed around Colorado for 3 quarters. USC doesn't push around Colorado. They just have better players. And Caleb Williams knows how to take advantage of those better. He's just a really, really good quarterback. And he just took advantage of Colorado's, I guess, defensive deficiencies. But at the same time, Colorado did the same thing to USC because they're not a physical team. And I think that's going to be USC's down. That's always been Lincoln Riley's downfall. And that's why I think USC will not be a national championship contender nor win the Pac-12 because of that defense. I just don't think it's good enough. They look small, not athletic, and they don't pass the eye test, and that's why they have to score 50 a game, and I love that, which is one of the reasons why I watch USC games. So I'm happy USC won because I did not want Colorado to win. I'm not a hater. I just don't really like Colorado like that. I think they do a lot of talking. I'm happy USC hung on at the end, but as far as like national championship and Pac-12, USC is not going to win the Pac-12, not with that defense. It's not good enough. But that was my takeaway from the game.
What'll be interesting is, they play Arizona this week. I expect that they'll be able to win. It's a national televised game because they are a national attraction. But after that, they have the hardest opponent strength of schedule in the nation for the next 6 weeks against Notre Dame, Utah, kind of a bye week against.
Do they play
Cal,
Washington?
And then they play Washington and Oregon and UCLA. Right. So it's Notre Dame, Utah, Cal, Washington, Oregon, UCLA. That's 5 ranked teams, assuming UCLA gets back in the rankings, and one in a 6-week period. There's no SEC team that does that in a season, let alone in a 5 to 6 week period.
No, USC team don't have. I mean, SEC team does not have a schedule like that. I definitely agree. One thing about it, yeah.
They'll be tried and true. If they get through, it's because they've ran the gauntlet, and if they are able to accomplish that,
they deserve to get in.
They deserve to be a playoff and a championship.
Yeah.
And if they don't, because Washington and Oregon look really damn good, and Utah does not look like they suck, Notre Dame does not look like they suck. They're top 10.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons to understand why they would lose if they do, and why we should all be very, very impressed if they don't.
Yeah. I know. I definitely would be. I don't think Caleb Williams is very good. I just don't think he's good enough to get through all those games. But we'll see.
I think he'll put up the same amount of points every week. Whether or not the defense gives up more is the question.
Right. The question has always been.
Them boys is throwing, man. Caleb Williams had 6 touchdowns, 1 interception, 30 for 40.
400 yards.
Caleb Williams is never the issue.
I'm sorry. Sanders, no, even if against backups, still was 4 TDs, 1 pick, 30 for 45 for 371.
He didn't play against backups the whole game now. He was actually putting up, and when the second half started, when he really started to roll.
I'm not putting him on 64 yards.
Yeah,
193 rushing yards.
I'm not putting him on Caleb Williams' level though, but I'm just saying he started to roll after halftime.
I think
in that third quarter.
The brother's still getting some props from me because he was at some capacity balling. He threw 4 TDs. It's still
he was balling, but he's not the Caleb Williams level though. I can't put him on that level yet.
Well, you're talking about a Heisman winner, so there's no one else on his level at that point. So
do you know that he's number 2 in the country in passing yards, right? Jrue Williams. Sorry, Sanders.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I'm just.
What's up,
I think there's only one person on his level, on Caleb Williams' level right now, but that's it. He's
Penix
playing out of control.
Is that Penix or who?
No, not Penix. Drake May. Drake May is that's my guy. That guy.
Penix
so good.
Pretty damn awesome too.
Penix looks good.
He's number 1. Yardage, he's number 1. Touchdowns, he's number 2.
Where did the boys play at? Because I don't know either.
Penix is at Washington. And Drake May is at North Carolina.
Got it.
Drake May is
Y'all gonna draft him?
Hell no, we ain't gonna draft him. We ain't drafting number 2.
You ain't gonna be able to pay the quarterback. Hey, I don't know what y'all will do. I don't know what y'all will do. Y'all might get that pick.
Man, Brock Purdy's getting paid. Look, let me tell you something though. I just found out today. I didn't know this.
By which team?
Right, hold on. Yeah, we gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
The 49ers. I didn't know that the Bears have the first and second pick of the draft. Right. Yep. If the season ended today. I didn't know that. Yeah, they got the first and second. So when Caleb Williams' father was talking about they might not, he might not enter the draft, he probably was looking at the Bears. He probably don't want him to go there. I don't know.
He said he wants to play for 5 teams if it's true, and all our teams are in there. But we'll get to that. Yeah. Anything else college football wise?
Nah, not for me.
I think you guys kind of just want to talk about that.
I mean, Colorado USC is like, they're a draw. USC's a draw. Colorado's a draw.
We should talk about Drake May at some point, not necessarily now, but his numbers are not impressive.
I don't care about his numbers. Dude's just good. I mean, John Elway's numbers wasn't impressive, but he was.
Yeah, but he's got 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns. Why does he look so good? He's not scoring.
Oh, hey, they're winning.
And he plays in North Carolina.
That dude's talent. Hey, John Elway was 6-6 in college. Still, everybody wanted him.
Washington State got UCLA this week. You got Miami's playing Georgia Tech.
No, that's nothing. That's nothing to talk about. Miami and Georgia Tech. UCLA, Washington might be a good win, but I expect Washington to beat them.
Yeah, most of these games don't look all that exciting. Your boy in North Carolina, they're playing Syracuse, so okay. All right, cool, fair enough. That's college football is just USC. That's who they care about, so that's fine in Colorado. So then the trade you guys mentioned, Jrue Holiday got traded again. He got traded in the Dame Lillard trade, and then what you guys were just saying, which I didn't even know happened. He got traded to the Celtics for Malcolm Brogdon, Robert Williams III, a 2024 first-round pick from the Warriors, and a 2029 unprotected pick from Boston. We'll all go to.
Yeah, this trade right here, usually what's different about this trade is that Boston tries to win every trade. Like they need to fleece somebody in order to make a trade. In this trade, I don't think they came out as a winner. And the reason why is because they've already lost Marcus Smart. To me, he's not on the level of Tatum, but he's more like I would say the fiery leader. I mean, the guy who kind of like brings it every night on the defensive end or just brings it every night emotionally or whatever. Every team needs a guy like that. They already lost him. Malcolm Brogdon was, a good, I would say, ancillary player. And then Robert Williams, when he's healthy, I think he's a really, really good defensive player. I think what hurt them in the finals against the Warriors that he wasn't fully healthy, only played about 19, 20 minutes a game. But Robert Williams is a really good defensive center. So basically they traded and they got Jrue Holiday. Jrue Holiday's a decent player. I just, in the playoffs, he just doesn't really come through. He usually has stinkers of playoff games, and it's usually consecutive games. So I don't know how this actually helps Boston. I get he's a defensive guard. Sometimes he gives you some offense here or there, but his defense ain't really all that. I mean, he does get lit up a lot. So I don't think it's actually made the Boston Celtics better, which is why I'm surprised they actually made this trade. It's like they traded defense for offense because they got rid of a couple of defensive players already for Jrue Holiday, who's 33, and I don't really see much defense coming from him in the playoffs. But I guess we'll have to see. I still think Miami might be able to beat them. But in my mind right now, the Bucks are still the top dog, and I don't think this gets the Celtics past the Bucks. I'm sorry, I would take Dame Lillard over Jrue Holiday all day.
Well, they did, and I don't think that was the point of this. They must just be trying to.
Yeah, I don't think that they were trying to equal Dame Lillard and making that trade. That certainly is not it.
Yeah, they're out of there.
I do think that this is a solid trade for Boston. Now, again, I don't think there's 4 deep like Milwaukee. I don't care who you trade for or what you're thinking you're going to do. You're not going to be able to get to that level. That's where they're at. They're a super team. But that being said, Jrue Holiday, when he's had his less than spectacular performances as people look at it, it's always when he needs to be the number 2. He doesn't need to be the number 2 on this team. He's got Jaylen Brown. He's got Tatum. Like those are the guys who are 1 and 2. He's there to be a very, very good complementary piece and point guard who can play defense against the Dame Lillards. And kind of make sure that he takes care of that business. Now, again, I'm not suggesting that means that Boston is going to be better than Milwaukee. They're not. But I do think that this trade made Boston better and probably the second best team in the East over the course of the next season or so.
Interesting. I don't know enough about. I got to see, man. Trades, especially recently. We don't know, man. I got to see these cats on the court. I don't know.
Yeah. 20 points a game is no slouch, right?
Yeah, he was big in the wasn't he on that Bucks team that won? Right?
No, I don't think. Was he? Yeah, he was on that team. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was a key piece at that time. I mean that was 3 years ago.
Well, not in that playoff run, but changes. He was on the team.
Yeah, he was kind of important.
He was a factor. I just think people. Yeah. I mean, look, and you deserve that label when you're making $36 million. He's still the second highest paid guy on the team. Excuse me, I am wrong. He is the highest paid player on that team. The second highest paid player is Kristaps Porzingis, and then it's Tatum, and then it's Jaylen Brown. So, anyways, I understand when people say that you're underperforming when you're the highest paid player on a playoff team. But it's also about understanding your role on the team, which he seems to be able to do. And he understands that while he's making all that money, he's still, he's not Tatum. He's not.
Well, so did Brown's deal not kick in then? Didn't he just get
he gets $31 million. So all these guys who get max because they haven't been in the season, the league as long, it's a step increase. So his max deal is 31.8. Whereas Jrue Holiday is at 36.8 because he's had it a few years.
Got it. Okay. Wow.
Tatum's is at 32.6 because he's in the second year of it, and then Kristaps Porzingis, he's been around the block a long time. His deal is at 36 million.
Yeah. Jay, Brown capped at 31 million.
4 players.
Yeah, it was 4.
Yeah.
But
we have to clarify underperforming. What's underperforming for Jrue Holiday? I'm not saying he has to average 20 a game, but he shot badly in the play. He doesn't
25
do well.
He averaged 25 and 7 over the course of the last season.
What did he do in the playoffs? I don't care about the season.
I could dig into the playoff record.
It's the playoffs.
Stats, but I don't think they're that bad.
Man, Kyle Kuzma averaged 21 in the regular season. That regular season means absolutely nothing. The playoffs is where the reason why these players are getting acquired.
18 and 8. So he averaged 8 assists in the playoffs, which is more than his 7 assists in the regular season. He averaged 18, which is less than his 19.3. So he went down a point and a quarter. And then he went up on rebounds from 5.1 to 6. Those were all there. Now his field goal percentage, which is I'm sure what you want to talk about, it went from 47 to 40, and then his 3-point percentage went from 38 to 30. So if by
That's what we saw.
percentage, those things
yeah.
went down, that equated to 2 points. But his defense was great. His rebounding went up. His assists went up. His blocks stayed the same. His steals went up. And it was only 5 games. Let's remember, it's a relatively small sample.
Yeah, that's right. They got touched.
I see that's that season, but we'll see. We'll see when the playoffs hit. It's usually every playoffs he kind of dips, but we'll see. We'll see how he is with Boston because they'll play in a lot of playoff games this year. They should go far.
Random stat. You know who scored the most points in the 2023 playoffs? NBA?
Who that?
Kawhi Leonard. The most points per game.
2023? Oh, most points per game. He only played 2 games, right?
2 games,
2 or 3 games, yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Word. All right. Anything else there?
Nah, I'm good.
Cool. All right. So give me the MLB breakdown. You got Brian was saying it just starts today. Y'all know I don't really watch baseball, so I'll probably start watching like the next series, and then I'll be heavy on baseball. But what's going down?
Well, I was just saying that it starts in earnest, right? You have the wild card series, best of 3. It's a unique situation in which it was all 4 series ended up in a sweep, with the number 5 Rangers beating the number 4 Rays, the number 3 Twins beating the number 6 Blue Jays, and then on the other side, the number 4 Phillies beating the number 5 Marlins, the Miami Marlins that got rid of Jeter a little while ago. And then what I think is actually a pretty significant upset is the Diamondbacks beating the Brewers, number 3 Brewers. The Diamondbacks were the only playoff team that had a negative point differential, that's a pretty significant come up. They were meant to be cannon fodder. Matter of fact, a lot of people were picking the Brewers to beat the Dodgers if they advanced, and making their win of the over the Diamondbacks like a foregone conclusion. So I do find that interesting. But we've got 4 good series, and I'm really happy that one of them includes the Twins. It's safe to say that most people are going to be looking to see the Dodgers and the Braves in the NLCS, and my guess is the Orioles, who a lot of people think are going to win it all. And I'd love to see the Twins beat the Astros. 1, I freaking hate the Astros. 2, I really love the Twins. But I'm not sure it's meant to happen. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so you got the Minnesota Twins versus Houston Astros, the Texas Rangers versus Baltimore Orioles, the Arizona Diamondbacks versus the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the Philadelphia Phillies versus the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, I'm pulling for the Twin Cities. I'm pulling for Minnesota too. You know, every time that they go far, my brother-in-law keeps his job. So, it's
I heard that.
It's a scout, so it's a good thing.
I was gonna say, look, I will say this: that the Twins scouting has to be better than everyone else's just to stay where they're at.
Right.
Because
they can't
they're
play
a small
big money.
market team.
Yep.
They have to find talent. They have to find a certain character who is less drawn to money if they're planning on keeping them beyond an instant. And they have to keep depth, because the only way that they can get big talent to go there is to trade their youth for it. So they've got to have more talent in the cupboard. And they've done an amazing job. And I remember when George Steinbrenner was talking about how he thought that should be the team that should be contracted. Of course, he had part ownership of the Brewers at the time. Not Steinbrenner, it was the guy after him, excuse me. I remember when they were like, well, should the Twins be contracted and all that? And they made the playoffs that year.
Yeah.
The Twins have a suspicious knack of showing up to right when you want to count them out.
Yeah.
They're also the king of the great start to the season and the letdown finish that gets them out of the playoffs.
And also, they don't play in a very good division. They don't have to win 95, 100 games. Usually the Central Division is very, very weak. Well, usually the weaker division out of all 6 of them in baseball, and they tend to either win it or get a wild card spot. So good for them. However they get in is however they get in. But they take scouting very seriously, and it's good to see them in. You kind of want to see them go far. Not sure if they'll beat Houston, but I know I'll be happy. I know you'll be happy if they do, because then they'll be in the championship series. The Texas-Baltimore is going to be a sneaky good series. I think Baltimore is going to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if Texas won. The Dodgers
really freaking good.
The Dodgers will beat Arizona. Atlanta's going to beat Philly. So I think we're going to have LA, Atlanta, and I hope we have the Twin Cities, Minnesota against Baltimore. But if Baltimore plays the Twin Cities, I think Baltimore will win that probably pretty easy. But we'll see.
That's crazy. Word up. All right. Yep. I got no comments. I don't really watch baseball, so I'll know something as these weeks go on, because I'll start watching. You start watching during the playoffs.
All good.
Word. All right. So that's kind of the quick rundown of other sports stuff. Let's get to it, man. What's happening in the league, bro? Let's start with Coop. Let's start with you, man. You got the team that's rolling. What's up with these Niners, man? What you think best up last week and then going forward?
Well, look, I ain't gonna lie. My point spread league, I took Arizona plus the 14. Wanted the Niners to win, and if those receivers could have caught those passes by Josh Dobbs, they would have covered at the very end of the game. But they dropped them, went through their hands. So pissed off about that. But happy the Niners won. Like I said, it's mainly about Brock Purdy's just decision making. You know, he went 20 for 21. I mean, that's cool, but the type of throws you make is what I really care about. I'm not really too into the stats. And he made some decent throws.
Pretty good.
How about that?
I heard McCaffrey's pretty good.
Oh yeah, McCaffrey's really good. But I mean, you can have talent just because you're a quarterback on a team with talent doesn't mean you're going to be good. I mean, we can name many quarterbacks been on talented teams didn't do jack. But I mean, Brock Purdy made good decisions. He didn't. Nobody got hurt, thankfully, which is all I care about because I think somebody's going to get hurt when we play Dallas next week. But you know, we took care of a bad team. You know, started off strong, kind of let up in the middle, and then finished strong. So. You know, it's the Cardinals. I don't think anybody expected us to lose to the Cardinals. It was just a matter of how much they're going to lose by, and they end up losing, I guess, by more than 14 or whatever. But you know, I don't really have much to say about that game because it's the Cardinals.
What do you think about this Cowboys game coming up?
I think it's going to be a very physical game. The Niners should be favored by 3, and the Niners they should win. A lot of people are talking about this whole Trey Lance thing. Is he going to give intel about the 49ers? And to me, that makes no sense. And the reason why is the Cowboys have played the 49ers the last 3 years. If they don't know their tendencies or what they're going to do by now, then that's a you problem. I don't see how Trey Lance will be the deciding factor of the Cowboys win this game or not. But
I was listening to talk radio today, and he was saying that Trey Lance, like he only got so many reps anyway. So now more of the playbook's open that he may have not even ever seen because now they're getting Brock Purdy more of the playbook.
Yeah, because Kyle Shanahan
exactly.
Kyle Shanahan's playbook is very expansive, so they can go into plays that Trey Lance doesn't know about. Exactly. That I've heard that was a possibility, but like I said, I don't think Trey Lance. They said they're going to lean on him. I don't think that means anything. You played a team every year the last 3 years.
He runs the scout team too, so he'll be Brock Purdy in practice, which is funny.
Yeah, but
the line is
it's 3
49ers minus 4.
4 now. Okay. So 3.5, 4. I expect the 49ers to win. I don't know if they'll cover the spread. Dallas has a really good defense. I don't think the 49ers will be able to run on them. If he tries to put McCaffrey near 25 times against that defensive line, he's going to get that boy hurt. So I'm hoping they have a different strategy because the last time he played him in the playoffs, it was a real tough game. And Dallas probably should have won if Dak didn't throw those 2 interceptions. So we'll see what happens. It'll be a good game.
Good defense. This is usually how it goes. The first real test of the season, in my opinion. I do think you guys win. You guys always, in the last like 4 or 5 years, have done this. Every time, like, man, the Niners haven't played anybody. Let's see when they play somebody. They play somebody, they win. All right, cool. I will say that looking at the schedule, I was looking at the schedule and kind of breaking it down. I think the biggest issue for the Niners is going to be, and it's nothing that's their fault. The team is great. I just think the schedule, the way it's built, you play who they put in front of you, and they haven't put anyone in front of you. So it's
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but nobody was saying it about Philly last year. They were just crowning Jalen Hurts as the second best quarterback in the league, and that was the easiest schedule in the league. And they had 2 pretty much bye weeks in the playoffs against the Giants, and the quarterback was 49ers, but he gets a lot of credit for that too. So I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
He also gets credit for being in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm also not on a podcast with any Eagles fans. So I don't really pay attention to the Eagles like I do. And I live in the Bay. So just looking at that and even looking at the Eagles schedule, the Eagles are actually playing some teams. Their whole division almost went to the playoffs too. So that's a benefit too.
Who the Eagles played this year? Didn't they just play Tampa Bay?
Yeah.
Who
you guys
they
play them. You guys will play them too.
We were talking. You were talking. You comparing them to last year's team where they did their whole division almost went to the
right.
Yeah, they haven't really. The best team that they've played this year so far, I think, is probably the Patriots. And I don't think the Patriots.
Philadelphia had the easiest schedule in the NFL last year. That's not disputable. And 2 bye weeks in the playoffs.
The playoffs, and they went to the Super Bowl. So they played some real teams when they went.
They
to the
had
playoffs
2 bye weeks. They played the Giants and they played the Niners without a quarterback. I don't consider that great playoff wins.
I agree. I'm just saying
Giants suck.
The Giants were a playoff team this year. This year they got the Jets, the Dolphins. They got the Jets, the Dolphins.
The Jets. Who their quarterback?
Jets defense is good. I'm talking about more Jalen Hurts. They got the Chiefs. They got the Bills back to back. They got the Cowboys, Chiefs, and Bills back to back. To me, that's a stretch. And then they play you guys. That's a stretch. And then the Cowboys again, where you can say we're gonna lose some of these games. We lose some of these games. We can build. The Niners, I think the toughest defense Brock's playing against is his own, and they can't hit him. So it's kind of, in my opinion, like you were saying
Dallas,
earlier, we
Dallas
don't
has
know.
a defense. What are you talking about?
Now this will be the first one, right?
You said has played.
Has played,
Oh.
right?
Oh
So
yeah,
not
has
going,
played.
but-
Oh yeah, has played. Yeah.
I was looking at
yeah.
the schedule, man. The best quarterback shall play at the end.
Wait,
but it's
hold
just not
on.
looking-
Wait.
But
Have you seen
let
the
me say
Browns
this because I'm going to
defense?
put a turd in your punch bowl. I think Dallas is going to win this game. I think that the 49ers are, and it's not because they're not very good, but I think they become way too McCaffrey dependent. And I think a good defense like the Cowboys can find a way to shut them down. All 4 of the touchdowns went through McCaffrey.
Kind of what
Coop
Coop was saying. Yeah, Coop was saying the same
Yeah.
kind of.
So, but I think they're just too dependent that when they go up against a team, a good defense can find a way to shut down one player. And then Brock Purdy's going to have to go and do something else. Now, I'm not saying he necessarily can't. I just don't think he will this week.
I think that's good. I think you want that though, Brian, because you're going to need that to me during the season. So you actually want him to ask Brock to win the game.
They're going to make the playoffs.
The 49ers are going to lose.
They're a
but it's
favorite.
not 49ers are going to lose, but it's not against the Cowboys. They're going to lose the following week against the Browns because you're sleeping on the Browns defense and people are sleeping on the Bills defense, which I will get to later. The Browns have defense. They are kicking ass. It's just nobody talks about them because they're the Browns. That's the game the 49ers are going to lose to because after this bloodbath with the Cowboys, we're going to lose in Cleveland the following week. That's the game that's the first loss the 49ers will have.
Well, you guys
Cleveland.
You get to play the Vikings the next week. And then you play the Bengals, who are not playing that good, the Jags, Bucks. I was just looking at the quarterbacks.
Buccaneers in Seattle, and then we play Philly.
Yeah, I was looking at. So
that's the game everybody wants to see, and it's in Philly. So if Philly loses, we can't hear any excuses from nobody.
On Christmas Day.
They'll be at home.
Yeah. So I was just curious about it. I don't think it's bad. I just, as I was looking at it, I was looking at the schedule like, damn, what quarterbacks is this Walter defense playing that they're getting to test against? And then
the Browns defense is good. I'm sorry, they are.
You need those. You're gonna need some of those because they're not.
They got some players.
You wanna, in my opinion, be tested. And I feel like, especially playoff teams, like you learn way more from the losses. In my opinion, when you
it's clear. The losses bring clarity. But just because the 49ers lose, I don't think it's because they're McCaffrey dependent. I just think they're just going to lose because the Browns is going to be the better team that day. After playing the Cowboys, playing the Browns is not a good matchup the following week. It's just not. Them boys be hitting.
I'm curious. I still think y'all got to be the favorite to go to the Super Bowl from the NFC just because of the record and the defense and how everybody, like the whole team is playing good top to bottom. I'm always like, where the test at? You know what I mean?
I kind of disagree on the defense. Steve Wilkes, the jury's still out on Steve Wilkes. This ain't D'Amico Ryan. This is definitely different. We need to score more points with Wilkes as our defense coordinator, but we could talk about that some other time. He's okay.
Well, they're scoring. I mean,
I don't think defense is all that.
7 points.
12, and they are the favorites. It's
23
Chiefs versus 49ers as the favorites for the.
Yeah, it should be. It 100% should.
Right behind them is Buffalo and the Eagles.
But y'all know that means nothing to me after 4 weeks. Yeah, that means absolutely. It's like college football rankings. It's like they should come out way later, not before the season starts. But
they do. It's the coaches and all that stuff is irrelevant. The real ones don't start until week 8 or 9.
No. I'm talking about, but the real ones are based off the AP poll. That's the problem. The AP poll should not come out to like 7-8 weeks into the season, so you actually know who's good.
Oh, All right, so let's
entertainment purposes only.
Slide to these Vikings, man. Y'all taking an L this week.
Who the Vikings play?
That's nice of you.
They got the Chiefs.
Yeah. No, I know.
I'm
aware who they're playing. I also saw the Chiefs struggle against the Jets, but I don't think that the Vikings are going to win. I do think that this game will be probably closer than most people would think. You'd think the Chiefs would blow the doors off of them. Vegas seems to have figured out something because they're usually pretty good at this. And the only
wait, Brian, don't tell me. Don't tell me. I ain't seen the spread. I bet. Where is it at? In Kansas City?
Nope, Minnesota.
Okay, so is it Kansas City -6?
-4, and that's the point.
4. Okay.
You would think that it would be 6.5 around there, given that Kansas City is supposed to be a Super Bowl favorite and all these other things, but it's only -4. The over/under is 52, right?
Okay.
So then that means that they think that the Vikings will score a decent amount of points in this game.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it'll likely be a little bit closer. The Vikings, obviously, this year are horrible in one-score games. Everything suggests that this is going to be a one-score game, at least from the spreads and the over/under. So, this may be a very entertaining game, and I will not be able to watch it because I will be at for whatever reason, this is one of those few times that a home game in Minnesota is in the afternoon. So they're in the afternoon, so they're playing the 1 o'clock game, and I'm going to the Philly Rams game which happens to be at the exact same time.
You may be able to.
And
You
it's
may be
also the
able to get it
televised
where you're
game, so
sitting
people
though.
get to watch it.
I'm about to
So,
say you may be able to get to, you may be able to see it from where you're at though, because sometimes they have the other screens playing.
They have it, which is good for the games before, but they're not gonna have the afternoon game on the TV in the suite when they're playing the afternoon game.
Got
It'll be
it.
the telecast. I'm guessing.
I've seen it at times. Like people change it. Like what you need is red zone. That's what I would do in all those.
Yeah, I'd love that. I have it on my phone, and I'll have the ability to tune in, but my focus will probably not be there. And I do think that this will be an entertaining game.
100%.
And I fully expect that Justin Jefferson is going to try and. So the first few games he had 150 yards every time. This game he only had 80, but he had 2 touchdowns. So he's going to try and merge the worlds. Is my expectation.
They're going to need him to.
And I don't think the Chiefs have a secondary that can keep up with someone as good as Justin Jefferson.
No.
Again, I don't think that's going to be enough because the Vikings defense and turnovers, they can't do it. You cannot win against good teams when you're turning the ball over 4 touchdowns and in the red zone, both of them at the same time. You just can't do it. So, that's a problem.
What's your overall thought on the team and team direction?
I mean, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I do think that they're going to end up getting ahead of Green Bay over the course of the season because I do think they're a better team than Green Bay. Not to say anything bad about Jordan Love, who I think has played admirably in his first season. Yeah. But I do think they're going to be the second best team. I don't think they're going to get to the playoffs. I think that they've got to figure out how to turn the aggressive defense that they're doing. They're blitzing all the time, and they have one of the worst pass rushes. How does that make sense? How does that happen? There's a problem there. In fairness to them, they've had a lot of injuries at key positions. Both of their outside line on their defensive line have been hurt and out, and they were both back last week and both played okay. But there's just no inside pass rush. They need to put a blitz to get any pressure on the quarterback, and even then, it's not consistent enough to create turnovers. And that's a problem. I mean, and we all knew what the problem with that team was, which is the defense. People blame the cornerbacks, but if you can't get a pass rush, you can only guard good wide receivers for so long before they're going to be able to make space on a corner. Unless you have the way you make it easier on the defensive backs is you get a good pass rush and you make it so they have to get rid of the ball quickly.
Yep. Yeah, so I just saw this. So the spread came out is -6.5, and now it's down to 4. You don't think there's a chance that Minnesota will actually win this game? Because I think there's a good chance they'll win.
I don't think it's a good chance. It would not shock me. Again, I like I was saying, this is going to be a much better game than most people would expect because if a spread goes from 6.5 to 4, right, and they're the Super Bowl favorites. They're the number 1 favorites for the Super Bowl is Kansas City. And, the Vikings aren't even a favorite to make the playoffs or even thought to make the playoffs because they started off 0-3. And it's only 4 and it's a 52-point spread. That tells me it's going to be a pretty high scoring game.
Yep.
And it's going to be a 1-score game likely at the end. And anyone has a puncher's chance. I think Jefferson will do all right. I just ultimately know that the Chiefs are a better team than the Vikings. And so, it makes more sense that they're winning. But
do you have any thoughts on last week's game against Carolina?
It was nice to actually get a win. But they almost gave that game up. Right. The touchdowns that were there, that's a defensive touchdown. So anyways, but they just really got to get rid of these turnovers. You cannot win in the NFL with the second now worst. It used to be the worst, then the second worst turnover differential in the league. So either your defense has to get good and start creating more turnovers, or you've got to stop giving the ball up because you just can't win when you're giving them, important turnovers at the wrong time. And the Vikings are awful at it.
Yeah, and Mr. Not Impressed. What's your deal on the Chargers and the Raiders?
Man, I'm not impressed.
Not impressed.
I was on, so I was surprised about Justin Herbert. Well, I wasn't surprised, but the defense actually played kind of solid against him. He had 167 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick.
Who was that?
Justin Herbert. That was his worst game in the league.
Less yards than the rookie.
Yeah, he didn't look too good. The rookie was throwing the ball a lot. He fumbled every time Khalil touched him. Khalil had the game of his life. He played amazing.
But you know why, right?
It's too easy to get around.
You know why? That guy held the ball like forever instead of getting rid of that bad boy.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
He did in preseason, but Khalil was playing phenomenal football. He couldn't block him.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched every stop. You couldn't block him.
Yeah.
And we had, one lineman, they weren't chipping him. He was just making beeline into the quarterback every time.
I don't even know if he was coming across the line as much as he was lining up in the fullback position and waiting for the snap. I mean, he was there. He was back there.
He played fabulous. I'll wait for the hogwash for that because man, them zebras. Them zebras was terrible. Absolutely horrible. I'm just kind of, I'm just over the for a while I was like, man, we're so undisciplined, but I can't even say the teams are undisciplined. There's no way you can lead the league in penalties for 40 years in a row and it be players and coaches. Like there's too many turnover of positions have happened for that to even mathematically make sense. But okay. So there were some bad calls that affected things. Didn't matter. We shouldn't have won anyway. Both coaches are terrible. Absolutely just bad play calling. I know it's Madden, it's not the same, but I'm just thinking there's no way I don't score. We're on the goal line and they throw the ball with the rookie, man. Give the guy a chance. Like, why are you doing this? Run the ball with Josh Jacobs and go for the, Josh McDaniels was on the field when the Patriots beat the Seahawks because the Seahawks threw the ball at the end of a game to throw a pick. Why would you do that?
That's Seahawks, but the Patriots threw the ball. Yeah, Patriots. Mm-hmm.
No, Seahawks threw the ball.
Oh, Seahawks. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Seahawks. You're
Patriots
right. I'm
won.
sorry.
Yeah.
Let me stop.
So,
right. Yeah, you're right.
The Patriots won. So
right.
That was crazy. What's his name? What's the boy's name from the Chargers coach? Staley?
Yeah, Brandon Staley. Yeah.
This boy Herbert cuts his hand or whatever. He's got his joint in the boot. He's got his joint all gloved up. It's fourth and 1. You're on your side of the ball. You're on your side of the field. You have a rookie quarterback and an offense that hasn't been moving the football. Why are you quarterback sneaking? Why? That does not make any sense. Why would I risk my quarterback's hand anymore? Especially, he's not going to reach out and have any umph to it because he doesn't want to hurt himself. You could have punted it, and your defense, Khalil Mack has 6 sacks. What are you doing? Like everything I saw was just ineptitude from coaching. It just is stupid. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I think we actually have a roster somewhat. It's just you got to put it together. It don't matter if you have a roster. You got to put it together. So. Don't matter. Shout out to mom. She's like, I can't even watch. She texts me like, just tell me when it's over. I can't. I don't know how you did this for all these years. And I'm like, hey, man, you gotta watch the games. You know what I mean? Like, gotta know what happens. So they let us back in the game. I am not impressed by the Chargers. I know what you're saying, Coop. And to you and Brian, I was telling you all this earlier. Next year when we do the preview show, pick another team below us. I don't care if you don't believe it or not. Just do it because you got some love for Dr. Dre and and Snoop Dogg, man. Like,
oh man,
look out for your boys. Is all I'm saying, because I don't understand why the Broncos or the Chargers get any benefit of a doubt and not just doubts like us. That's all. Both them teams look.
Are you
really
in
bad.
or out on McDaniel?
You still
That's a
in?
good question.
Because you was in last year.
I think my biggest issue is, do you trust that getting rid of him? One, what is that? You're paying 2 coaches, and 2, who do you get? That's my concern.
I'm not asking about what replacement or anything else.
Right.
Do you think he's?
Yeah, because you were optimistic last year on him. So do you think he's a good coach?
Don't assume contracts. Don't assume spending money.
Right.
Yeah.
Is he a coach who can help this team win?
The fact that I'm taking this long to answer means I don't. That's just
well, that's the right answer because nobody else believes it either. But I just want to see what you thought. Yeah.
You can't take that long and think they're the coach. You ask me anything else, I'm answering quick. I'd taken too long. I like some of the offensive plays. I like some of the stuff I'm seeing, but the clock management, some of the other stuff just looks dumb. My biggest concern.
So he's a good offensive coordinator and a bad coach.
Bad coach, yeah.
So far, I mean, you can't say anything else because his record speaks for itself.
His record as a head coach, right? Because he's 18 and 30.
Well, offensive versus offensive coordinator, fabulous. Coach, no. Also had Brady. Brady gets credit for that. Belichick gets credit for that. But yeah, they're just not it. I'm just hoping that they figure it out at some point, so we don't just waste all these players again, and then we just rebuild with.
Okay, let me give you a question because I predicted the Raiders will be 3-9 before their bye week, and they do have a couple talented players. They have Max Crosby and they have Devontae Adams.
Got quite a few actually, but go ahead.
Those guys you can say like you go 1-6, 1-7. Do you look to sell off those players and just rebuild? Because I don't understand what's the point of keeping those players and you just keep losing with them year after year.
I don't. I guess my thought is always like, why? What is the point of that? Where do you benefit by selling them off, though?
Because if you're not winning with them, why don't you just take that salary and get more players and then try to build the team, especially the defense? The defense definitely needs help.
My argument would be, and do what? Because I've seen you guys have players and picks and not do jack. So keep those guys. Let us sell some tickets. Let us at least have some pride when we watch the games.
Well, y'all gonna
Don't
sell
rebuild me
tickets
again.
regardless if your team is good or not.
Yeah. It's Vegas.
So
Y'all
far.
gonna sell tickets.
Yeah, so far.
It's almost the problem at this point for Raider fans.
I was curious
I think
about
there were
that
more
too.
Raider fans at the charge at SoFi than there were at Raiders Stadium
It is.
the week before.
I'm curious about that because I was saying this when they moved. If you guys remember, I was saying that if they go back to ineptitude and do it a long time, I was wondering if, like, at some point the shiny new is going to wear off, right? The shiny new stadium. Once all the teams have been there, you know, a lot of these teams are still getting their first crack at Vegas, right? So the Vikings will be their first time in Vegas. So of course, if you're a Vikings fan, you come out. Now, when it's been there, they've been there for 5-10 years. You've had a couple cycles. I'm curious, if you're not winning, does it still have the same allure just because it's NFL, or is it like, I'll do something else on a Sunday in Vegas? So I'm very curious about that. But I mean, we got a schedule ahead of us. There's some winnable games, but there's some tough ones too. So I mean, we play the Jets, Dolphins, and Chiefs and Vikings, you know, and Chargers. Like, that's a stretch of our games. That's tough. So we got a lot of playoff teams on the schedule. We're playing the Packers, the Patriots, and the Bears next. They need to figure out how to win them games. That's all I can think, and see what happens from there. But I'm not impressed. Can't even lie. I was hoping for more, but I will say this, Coop, and this is the last thing I'll leave with. Don't trade them players, because at least that makes it fun for me on Madden.
Okay. All right.
And that's real. I need Max, having Devontae, having those guys, like, makes it fun to play.
I get what you're saying. Go ahead, Brian.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't think that the allure of going to a game in Las Vegas goes away real soon.
Sure.
Just because it's in Vegas, you know, so many people go out there just to watch football, like, you know, in the sports books.
Yeah.
People, you know, it's a natural reaction to want to go there. Now, hopefully,
and I'm talking 10 years.
They have the highest ticket. They have the highest ticket price in the league. Hopefully, that comes and goes from number 1 to like 8 or 9, so that, you know.
I don't know. Yeah, I see. I'm thinking 10 years though, right? Like, the Raiders did this a lot of years in Oakland. So after a while, it wears off. Now, it wasn't a new stadium or anything, but I'm wondering in Vegas, you know, once all your teams have been there a bunch of times, after 10 years, the Chiefs have played there 10 times, the Chargers have played there 10 times. Everyone who's wanted to go has had a chance to go. So now you're deciding, do I want to spend that money on the tickets? What happens? But I mean, it's yet to be seen, because this hasn't happened before where you have, you know, a team in Vegas like this. So yet to be seen. I'm not impressed by it. I was hoping we could win more than 6, but our schedule is not that easy. Never is, just because of our division. So it is what it is. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. Anything else NFL wise you guys saw this week, or were impressed by, or you wanted to bring up?
Well, I think I was right about New England. I just still think that Mac Jones is going to get Bill Belichick fired, or early retirement, or a retirement that he doesn't want.
First of all, if he retires, nothing's early about it.
But I think Bill Belichick now, this is just my personal opinion, I just think he's hanging around to break Don Shula's record. So I think eventually Mac Jones is just going to make him want to go. That they have no skill position players at all for New England. It's just a bad team. It makes you see how many weaknesses Tom Brady, or a good quarterback, or really good quarterback, covers for your team, because Tom Brady covered a lot of stuff.
Those teams were better though. They had defense. They weren't that bad.
They had defense, but they didn't have the best skill players. Tom Brady, he had a Deion Branch and all these other guys. He had Randy Moss for one season. He didn't have really good skill players. He had Corey Dillon and
they made him
Thomas Davis and a whole bunch of running backs. So, you know, Tom Brady was really the person that kind of overcame any deficiencies that team has. Now that he's gone, it's just like Bill is on his own. And he's the GM of the team too. So he's the one picking all these players. And that's why his drafts are always so weird. So
as we get closer to the end of the show, let me throw y'all some quick hitters, and then we go into our last 2 segments. Dolphins, Bills, just quick thoughts. 48-20 Bills.
You go first, B.
Well, what do I think about the game?
Yeah.
It was
quick hitters.
It was what I thought it would be. I think the Bills are a better team. They're one of the teams that I always pick to go deep in the playoffs, and and I'm not surprised.
Yeah, on the show I picked Miami, but I switched to Buffalo later in the week. Told you guys the reason why is everybody's talking about Miami's offense, but nobody's talking about how bad their defense is or how good the Bills' defense is. The Bills are getting
I
pressure.
picked the Bills on the show.
No, we both picked the Dolphins. We both picked
you
them.
both picked the Dolphins. I picked the
Okay,
Bills.
we'll roll the tape back,
Yeah.
but yeah, I picked the Bills later.
I ain't
But like I
rolling.
said, the Bills defense is just good,
I
and
ain't rolling, Jack.
you know they hit Tua, and they got to him, and that's how you beat the Dolphins. Just hit Tua. A couple
And I
times.
don't think Miami's bad either. It's just
obviously
teams lose
Yeah,
throughout a season.
especially after that. So
Like I think San Francisco's going to lose this week. I don't think that's because they're bad. I just think
yeah,
matchups make
you gotta
fights.
lose some. Commanders, Eagles.
Washington, the Generals
Commanders
always
put up 31.
who?
Commanders put up 31. So I don't know.
The Generals always beat Philadelphia. They beat Philadelphia last year in this spot. They always beat Philadelphia. It's one of them division games. It seems like, I don't know, maybe I'm not saying they got their number, but they always playing real tight. Washington should have won. They should have went for it at the end, but they decided to go to overtime and lose. But I mean, it was a close game. It doesn't surprise me at all.
Commanders scoring a lot of points.
Yeah.
They haven't put up 30.
I think it's impressive that Washington was able to hang with a heavyweight like that. But division matchups are always a lot tougher. Teams
100%.
play a different way.
Washington beat them last year. Yeah.
But I do think it's impressive that a woeful Washington team by a lot of standards was able to, play in that game.
Mhm.
Last thought, CJ Stroud.
Super impressed.
To me, that game is more about D'Amico Ryan. That's a bad job, and he's doing whatever he can to try to get that team to win. Beating the Steelers like that was pretty impressive. So I think that's more D'Amico Ryan. CJ Stroud.
He's not throwing the passes though. He's not throwing.
I'm not really
interceptions and the fifth most passing yards I think in history.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm impressed by CJ Stroud, but it's more about what D'Amico Ryan has put together with that team, man. He's doing his thing. I give him credit for that.
You're gonna pick you some Niners any kind of way, ain't you?
Nah, I don't look at D'Amico Ryan as a Niner. I look at him as a Philadelphia Eagle because he played for them for so long. But D'Amico Ryan's I just think he's a really good coach. I just want him to be successful. Happy for him.
Yeah, the list of quarterbacks that CJ Stroud is with, and now going 4 games with 300 yards and 2 touchdowns in at least on every game at least, and no interceptions is literally all people who are guaranteed the Hall of Fame or going to be the Hall of Fame. It's Brady, it's Manning, it's
Favre, I think was in there.
It's Mahomes. It is ridiculous that group. So that is impressive because there's literally nobody in that group who became a bust. It's all Hall of Famers. So that's impressive.
Yeah, I agree. Coleridge Bernard doing his thing. All right, so that's it, man. I appreciate you guys. It's always fun to do it. Last segment, hogwash. I'm gonna just start it, man. NFL referees wash them hogs, get in the hogwash, whatever. Them boys is terrible. In the Raider game, and then I was showing you guys the last play of the game. Justin Herbert throws this long pass. It's an obvious push off, the same push off they called earlier in the game. They don't call it first down. Oh my gosh, Justin Herbert's amazing. Holds galore that they don't call. Just it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then the flags that go against us in key moments all the time. I can't rock with it. That the Chiefs game, giving a holding call at the end to give you a first down. Like, man, it's hard. I know I don't think the games are fixed, but man, if someone ever could prove it, I wouldn't be too surprised. So the refs was trash to me. That's hogwash. Y'all turn.
My hogwash, I'm sending out the 3 teams. Number 1, the New York Giants. I had to sit through that boring Monday night football game and watch Daniel Jones, who just
the Thursday night game. My gosh.
Yeah, Daniel Jones just sucks. I said it when he came out. He sucks. It's a waste of money to pay him all that damn money. And he's terrible. So you see, they should have franchised him and told Saquon Barkley to walk or take the franchise tag. And they franchised Saquon and gave Daniel Jones a big contract. Stupid. That's one. The second team, I got 3 teams. The second team is Chicago Bears. Chase Claypool, I guess it's all out now. Everybody knows he refused to block and refused to run routes week 1, but the Bears still kept him on the damn team. And now they're saying that he's available for trade. Like anybody's really going to trade for that guy right now. Stupid. What are they doing? I don't know. And then the last one is the Raiders. The Raiders finally got rid of Chandler Jones after he got arrested, when they should have got rid of Chandler Jones when he wasn't practicing and he was away from the team. I don't understand what the Raiders are doing. I get it, but I don't get it actually. I
I
don't know
got
what the
thoughts
Raiders are
on
doing.
that, man. Because by getting by the arrest, and you have conduct detrimental, and certain financial incentives aren't in there. That felt a little bit weird at the end, but whatever.
Yeah. So I'm
Yep.
just saying the Raiders, the Bears, and the New York Giants. And what are we doing? I don't understand.
I
What
wouldn't
can you
be
tell your fan
surprised if
base?
the Raiders made the call on to give him the ability to make that cut and save some money.
100%, 100%, bro. It felt a little shady. B.
Well,
All right, my hogwash goes out to the U.S. Ryder Cup team who built us
Man.
all up. Yeah, built us all up. They were They were the Vegas favorite. They were talking all big stuff.
Man.
And then they get out there, and before they even have the first round, there's all this controversy about them wanting money because one of the players was negotiating up until the 2 nights before they were going to go out to the European course, out to the course, trying to get $200,000 because he wanted to go to him instead of the charity. I don't think the hat thing was overblown, but that was the kind of stuff that started off the problem even before they got on the course. Everyone on the team had to hear about it. It caused a fissure in the locker room, and then they go out there and just get smoked.
They were so bad.
Smoked. They were so bad on those morning and the first day morning rounds. It was crazy. So I was excited about it. It was late night golf. I turn on the TV at 10 o'clock, ready to watch. Ready to watch something. And by 11:30, I'm like, yeah, I can turn this off. This is about to be 04. And then the next day, they didn't do anything to improve on it. They show signs of life in the last day and even give up on that. I mean, Ron played out of his damn mind. In fairness to him for Europe, but what the U.S. needs to figure out how to put a team together that can get past the bullshit and just go out there and play. They're clearly the more talented group, but the other team always puts all their stuff away and goes out and plays out of pride, and it shows in the Ryder Cup. And it's just such a big deal. It's so disappointing. It's one of the few. I love watching the team game. I like watching foursomes and four ball. I like watching all the different side games and all that kind of stuff. And it was truly disappointing. And the team is hogwash for building themselves up and then letting us down like that.
It should have flew me and Brian out if they was gonna play like that.
Yeah, for real. The crowd would have loved watching me stink.
Yeah, man, bro, we'd have made it fun, man. I'd have had
We'd have
them
made it
not
totally
impressed. Like, come
that's
on,
hella
man.
funny.
Yeah, it was bad, bro.
Chest bumps for double bogeys. I can do it.
Something, bro. Like that was bad. That was a good one. Minute to win it. I just want to say thanks as always to everybody who listens. Shout out to the fam and everybody who checks us out. Appreciate you. If you got this far, you really rock with us. So thank you.
My minute to win is on Keefe D getting arrested in
Man.
Las Vegas. I don't know if you don't know who Keefe D is. Dwayne Keefe D was in the car. It was 4 guys in the car that shot Tupac Shakur. He's the only living witness of those 4 guys. The other 3 guys are dead. Keefe D has been running his mouth on YouTube, Vlad TV, and any other interview you see on YouTube since 2017, talking about the murder. Putting himself there, talking about. I actually believe all the stuff that he says because he's volunteered people names like Puffy and other guys, who he dealt with or whatever. The only thing I don't believe is actually who really shot Tupac. I don't believe the guy that Orlando Baby Lane, whatever his name is, shot him. I think the other guy did. I think the other guy did because the witness said there was a big black arm that came out the car that shot Tupac, and Orlando's about 160. He don't have a big black arm. But in any event, Keefe D had immunity for talking about this whole Tupac thing in California. He didn't have immunity in Nevada, and he lives in Henderson, Nevada, and they arrested him out of his house, coming out of his house, I guess, in the morning in Henderson, Nevada. Why the arrest took place 27 years later, I think there's a underlying, I guess, motive for it. I really don't think this is just my personal opinion. I don't think Keefe D is the big fish. I think that they want Keefe D to spill the beans on Puffy and his association with him and the Crips. And I think they're trying to get Puffy subpoenaed and get him to come down and probably get Puffy. That's just my personal opinion.
they've-
I don't see why you want to go through all this just to put Keefe D behind bars. I don't get that. But I mean, we'll see what happens. People are predicting this is going to be like the OJ trial. I don't know, but I'm definitely going to be interested in seeing what happens here, because to make an arrest 27 years later, I don't know. I don't get it. I know there's no statute of limitations on murder, but still, I don't get it.
And I'm
B.
like, oh, I don't know this Puffy you speak of. I'm Diddy.
Right.
Yeah, mine actually, we have a lot of listeners that are both in the Bay Area and Los Angeles, and the Bay Area has been experiencing a massive uptick in crime in line, and it all kind of started to get even worse. And when you all had a change in your bail, and so it got to the point where crimes where you were robbing and breaking in and didn't exceed certain limits, and therefore they weren't being prosecuted and they weren't being arrested and they weren't being chased down. Well, Los Angeles implement those same bail rules and ticketing regulations as of 10/1. And we were already having a lot of those problems. And it's seemingly going to get a little bit worse. It's really disappointing that we couldn't find a middle ground, because I do believe that it is the right idea to figure out how to create bail, create incentive, but also not punish things unnecessarily. Drug-related crimes that are on a small scale, those types of things. I understand why you're not going to put them in prison and have these huge crimes. When people are breaking into cars, literally just going down the block, and because each one is less than $2,000 worth of damage or whatever the arbitrary limitations are, and people are just standing by and watching it. Cops driving by. There's always these videos where you see people and the cops are just driving by, and that's now spreading. We just messed it up. We took a good idea and made and executed in a way that is both dangerous, disappointing, and ultimately going to turn a lot of really good people who wanted the right thing to be done against the idea completely, because people aren't going to sit there and say, oh, what we need to do is adjust it. They're going to say, we need to change this back right damn now, because I'm nervous, scared for my family and the people around me. And it's just truly disappointing. The only thing I would say is people, it's time to look out and make noise about this. Not just videotape all of it, but make noise about it. And I am a little bit worried about the vigilante justice that soon comes, because people are gonna start taking matters into their own hand. We'll see.
Well said, brother. Always ending it properly. October 4th, 2023. Sports Counterpoints. We'll catch y'all next time. Thanks.